This is the universe speaking to you. You are now tuned into the Modern Spiritual Life Coaching Podcast by the certified master life coach and spiritual guide, Coach Chip. Welcome, souls. We now begin this episode of a transformational journey. Unedited, unscripted, and creating something from nothingness. Now, let there be light on Modern Spiritual Life Coaching.
Now it's time for the morning gratitude shout-outs on the Modern Spiritual Podcast. Here's our newest followers on our Twitter.
And we have Sultan Ali. Follow him at Sultan Ali 143. He's a student of the Virtual University in Pakistan. We also have Loretta Lee at Loretta295-56425, and that's how you follow her. That's not her phone number, guys. And she said that there are many things she'd like to see and experience. She likes fashion, it's beautiful, and it's her dream. Do we have any more? Or that's it?
That's the shout-outs for now. If you like to get your shout-out here on the Modern Spiritual Podcast Morning Gratitude, Just follow our Twitter at chip_coach. Thanks for listening.
Good morning on the Morning Gratitude. It's Alchemy Coach Chip. And this morning we have moved from 6 a.m. Mountain, Arizona time all the way to 8 a.m. And that's so it wouldn't conflict with any early morning schedules of mine. Coming up this half hour, we got some very good stuff for you. One of the most powerful mantras that can cure all of your diseases, plus a 5-minute meditation that you can do anywhere, which is pretty relaxing to get your day started. And we're going to get into this very powerful speech. And if you listen to this every day, it will change your life. So let's get into it right now. And you say, who says? Well, I say Bruce Lipton says. Let's listen to what he says right here on the Modern Spiritual Podcast Live.
I will show you the science of actually how the cells work, and you will have more knowledge than most doctors in the world today because they still believe in the genes. Every cell in your body has a minus voltage on the inside and positive voltage on the outside. Every cell, every live cell is a battery. Every cell has about 1.4 volts, not too much. 50 trillion cells in the body times 1.4 volts is 700 trillion volts of electricity in your body right now. And with training and meditation, you can focus this energy called chi, and you can use that energy for healing. With that much voltage, people can self-combust. Every function in your body is already present in every cell. So where you have an organ in your body, the cell has an organelle, which means miniature organ. So the textbooks talk about the nucleus is equal to the brain. The nucleus is not the brain. The nucleus is the gonad. The nucleus does not control the cell. The nucleus is reproduction of the parts. So if you are dead and you still have your protein body, what's missing? The signal. So when a signal binds to a protein, what happens to the protein? It moves. It makes behavior. If you are healthy, your behavior is good. But if you have a dis-ease, the behavior is not right. What can cause disease? There's only two things. Either the protein is bad or the signal is bad. People with bad proteins got them from birth defects, because if you were born with defective genes and the genes make the protein, then the protein is defective. But less than 5% of the population has birth defects. That means 95% of the people should have a healthy, happy existence. But if you were one of the healthy people and now you are sick, what would cause the problem? There are only 3 ways to mess up the signal. 1, trauma. So if I fall off the stage and wrench my back, the signal is interfered with. Number 2, toxins. If the chemistry is not good inside the body, the signal cannot be passed through bad chemicals. Both of these interfere with the propagation of the signal. But the third one is thought, the mind. There's nothing wrong with the body. It's just sending the wrong signal at the wrong time. So if you change your thought and your mind, you can change the biology. And the mind is the primary cause of illness on our planet today. What is the name of the switch that controls your biology? Perception. And why that's important is that it's you and how you see the world that controls the biology. We have been given misinformation. When people say a gene turned on and a gene turned off, it sounds like the genes make decisions. Here is the simple truth. A gene is a blueprint. The gene does no control. The gene is never on or off. The gene is red or not red. And what do you think controls the signal? Perception. You are not the victim of your genes because you control your genes. One gene blueprint using epigenetic control can make 30,000 different proteins from one blueprint. So you can come with good genes and then through epigenetic control create cancer, diabetes, and it has nothing to do with the genes but epigenetic control. It returns responsibility for your health to you, and you are not the victim of your genes. Yet every day the media still tells you that genes control this and genes control that. And then people get nervous about what genes are in their family. And as Greg Braden said before, if you look for the disease, you can create the disease through epigenetics. Right now, it appears that about 95% of cancer is not because of mutant genes, but because of epigenetic control. And it can be passed from parent to child like genes. But the difference is you can change your epigenetics at any time. If you change your perception, you change the reading of your genes. If someone tells you you're going to have a disease and you believe that, then you can create the disease. So when you look at yourself, you're not a single entity, but you are a community of 50 trillion cells. But it's important to understand the word community. Every cell is intelligent, but when they're in a community, they give up their personal intelligence and respond to the central voice. In that community, that a cell must follow what the central voice is. And if the central voice says to die, the cells will die. The central voice is the mind. There are signals from the environment, the internal and external environment. The brain, the function of the brain is to perceive the signals and then interpret those signals and then send the information to the cells to control the behavior and the genetics. So the function of the brain is perception, and from that creates the mind. Now, we have heard of something called the placebo effect, right? The placebo effect is when you have a very positive thought that something can heal you, even if it's a sugar pill, but you believe it's the real medicine, then you can heal yourself with that. So the pill didn't heal you, it was the thought that healed you. Statistics reveal that 1/3 of all medical healings, including surgery, are the result of the placebo effect. And this is what medicine does not tell you, is that there is negative thinking, and it's called the nocebo effect. And in the same power that positive thinking can heal you, negative thinking can kill you. Point is that negative thinking can create all the effects of chemotherapy. Now think about this. If a doctor tells you you have a disease, or the doctor tells you you're going to die, and you believe the doctor because he's the professional, the belief will give you a disease and can cause you to die. So belief becomes an important part of medicine. Now, many of you have heard about the drug Prozac. Every year, billions of dollars are spent on buying Prozac. And here's a surprise, that the Prozac is no better than a sugar pill, so that it is a placebo drug. And yet the people who take it believe in the drug so much, it makes them better. So if you believe that something is good for you, it will be good. And if you believe that it's harmful for you, it will be bad. So the question is, if we are so able to be healthy and young, why do we get sick? And one of the most important reasons is stress. And the function of the stress hormones is to take the energy of the body and get it all to run and fight. So the stress hormones will shut off the functions of things that will not be needed in fight or flight. One of the most important uses of energy in the body is the immune system. Stress hormones shut off the immune system. And the significance is every one of you right now is infected with almost all of the disease germs that humans have. Right now, if I take a blood sample, I will show you you all have viruses and bacteria and parasites. And you might say, well, if I'm infected, then why am I not sick? Because if your immune system is working properly, it will suppress these parasites and germs. But the moment you start to shut off the immune system, then these organisms begin to start growing again. So the idea that you catch a disease is not really true. You already have the disease. And the medical people call these germs and parasites opportunistic organisms. So if you are under stress and you shut off the immune system, then you give these organisms the opportunity to then make the disease. And yet when we get some of these diseases, we go to the medical doctor and they give us drugs to kill the germs and the bacteria. Well, this is very helpful if the disease is going very quickly. That was not the problem in the first place. The problem was stress that shut off the immune system. So to get healing is, okay, treat the disease, but also treat the stress.
Very powerful speech on a very powerful podcast, the Modern Spiritual Podcast Live. And I'm Alchemy Coach Chip. If you like, go to modernspiritualpodcast.com and you can follow us on our Twitter. You can like us and follow us on our Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube. Now, here's a trick I'm going to tell you. If you subscribe to our YouTube and you listen to our podcast on YouTube, then any of the stuff that you hear on the broadcast, you will be able to see it in the video form. So it gives you a double dose of actually hearing it on audio and then seeing it in video, which is pretty cool how YouTube has put this all together and makes the podcast and YouTube work together fluidly. So it's highly recommended to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and listen from that point right there. They also released out a video player too that goes onto your Chrome browser or to your other browser that you got. I think it was Safari. Very interesting, and technology is getting bigger and bigger and bigger in a lot of different ways. Subscribe to this podcast because we have a lot of more great things coming up. And when we talk about modern spiritual, we don't mean religion, but we're actually talking about the mind, body, the health, and the soul. That's what this program's all about. We're going to get into now a very powerful mantra. It's about 10 minutes long, and this mantra, saying it every day, will cure all your disease, and you can chant it anytime, anywhere. So let's get into that right now here on the Modern Spiritual Podcast.
Brahmananda Swarupa Isha Jagatisha Akhilananda Swarupa Isha Mahesha Brahmananda Swarupa स्वरूपा ईशा महेशा ब्रह्मानंद स्वरूपा ईशा जगदीशा अखिलानंद 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 स्वरूपा ईशा महेशा
Modern Spiritual Podcast.
And that's it for this episode of the Modern Spiritual Podcast Live Morning Gratitude. Happy Monday. I'll be back during the middle of the week on Wednesday. We're playing an all unsigned indie music row. And if you're an artist and like some of your music played on the air right here, all you got to do is send an email in your MP3 to music@modernspiritualpodcast.com. And this is going to wrap up our episode number 82. And we'll be back with number 83 on Wednesday. Make sure you like this podcast and subscribe to the podcast. Share it with your friends, families, and anybody that you think may enjoy this powerful speech that was broadcast today, as well as these powerful mantras that you're not going to get just anywhere, but you're going to get them right here on the Modern Spiritual Podcast. So let's get into this last 5-minute meditation you can do anywhere. And we'll start that right now. Until the next time, wherever you may be are listening, good day and a good evening, good night. Be safe on the safe distancing, as well as the cleanliness for that COVID-19. And we're going to stay alive. We're going to survive this because it's all in our thought, in our minds, and with these mantras and these educational speeches gives us the power of the mind and the freedom where we'll be able to survive this COVID-19. And I know this for a fact because my wife just survived the COVID-19 after a whole entire month out of work. She's now back, gone to work, and we are recovered in this home front of the COVID-19. And it was really rough for me because I didn't get in it. I was negative the whole time. Because of all this stuff that I did, I have proven that this does work. My wife was just astounded that I didn't have any symptoms, or when I took the test, I came back as negative. And I slept in the same bed with her all the way up until the day they called her and said she was positive. And no one could figure out why that happened. Maybe you had a good immune system. But it's all the stuff that I do on this show that it proves to me and to you and to everybody, to the world, that this stuff does work. And you ask the Himalayas and the Buddhas, they will tell you the same thing. I was trained, and I do have one of my teachers that's a Himalaya Buddha. His name is Nicholas Barlos, and he's on the Ascended Masters. Plus, I have a spiritual teacher as well for the medium. I got a lot of different teachers that continue to keep me in line after doing this for 3.5 years, going into 4. And I'm going to continue to bring it down to you guys that want to learn this stuff and improve your life and change your life, because I know my life's have changed in a dramatic of time. Let's get into this 5-minute meditation, and I'll talk to you on the next episode right here at the Modern Spiritual Podcast. Peace.
Hey there, and thanks for gifting yourself these next few minutes. It's important to remember that you're a priority, and allowing yourself even just a few short minutes of intentional reflection can really have a positive impact on the rest of your day. So let's use these next few minutes to come back to center and set an intention for the rest of your day. Move into a comfortable position, whether you're seated at your desk at work or laying on the couch at home, and gently close your eyes and shift all of your attention onto your breathing, taking slower, deeper breaths than you've taken all day so far, taking a deep breath in through your nose and slowly letting it out through your mouth, and continuing to breathe that way, feeling your lungs expand out as you inhale and contract back in as you exhale. Tune into your body, noticing how it feels, noticing if there's anything that it's trying to tell you. Notice any place of tension or tightness in your body, and give those areas permission to relax, sending love into those areas. Thank your body for taking such good care of you, and let it know that it's okay to rest and relax for these next few minutes. You may notice that your mind starts to wander off. That's okay. That's natural. Just notice it and bring your attention back to your body, using your breath as your anchor. Try to picture one thing that's happened today that's made you smile, or made you thankful or appreciative. And just let that feeling fill you up for a moment. Breathe that feeling in from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And allow yourself to smile if that feels natural. Now focus on something that you can do today, whether it's for yourself or for someone else, that will allow you to continue feeling this way. It could be something as small as deciding to go to bed early tonight so that you have time to finally read that book that's been on your bedside table. Or the joy of getting dinner with a close friend. What's one little thing you can plan for your day to bring that intentional joy to it? Now just focus on that for a few minutes. Sit in that feeling of joy and peace. Now let's take a few more deep breaths together. A deep breath in, feeling your lungs expand out as you inhale, and everything contract back in as you exhale. Again, an even deeper breath than the one before it, holding that breath for a beat, and exhaling everything out. Last time, your deepest breath yet, sending that breath through your entire body. And exhale it out. And in your own time, slowly bring your awareness back to where you are. And thank yourself for taking these few minutes to just be intentional and kind to yourself. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and enjoy the rest of your day.